Welcome to Geek Out Virtual Con, the replay of our special 2-day live streaming event, April 11th through 12th, 2020. This is a two-part segment featuring ENFUEGO Entertainment with Eric Smith-Gunn and Pam Meisl-Smith, followed by comic books and graphic novels with Kat Calamia, also known as Comic Uno, Heroineburgh, Chuck Pineau, Marvin Wynn, and Jason Quinn. And this panel is hosted by Rob Andersin, the underground indie advocating devil. Yeah, I've been spending more time with these guys than my own husband. Bill, you are more than welcome to stay until we need the seat.
No, that's okay.
Then you're getting kicked, I'm telling you. But yeah, so we are Geek Out Virtual Con Day 1, and we are with ENFUEGO Entertainment. We have Eric Smith-Gunn and Pam Meisl-Smith. And, give us a quick introduction with you guys.
Okay. I'm Eric Smith-Gunn, obviously. This is my wife, Pam Meisl-Smith, and we have a company called ENFUEGO Entertainment. We've been around since 2009, and we are pretty much a production company that produces stuff for online distribution and whatnot.
Yeah, we're a team.
Yeah, we're a team.
It started out with just us several years ago, and now when we produce products, we have 20, 30, 40 people. So we've really grown a lot in the last several years. So we're pretty excited about that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Well, we had the pleasure of interviewing.
When we're producing.
We, just so that people know, when more than one person talks, it kind of flubs up the audio and stuff like that. So, and I tend to do that. So just tell me, either one of you guys, one of you hosts can either mute me or, kick me or whatever. So we had the pleasure. I know, Christian. Down, Christian, down.
You're getting the boot.
We had the pleasure no, not yet.
Not in the middle.
We had the pleasure of interviewing you previously, and we were talking about hijab, and unfortunately, that has been kind of shut down with public, with the production because of COVID. And we don't know how far into episode 2 you might have been, or episode 3. So that has been probably a real challenge. What have you guys been doing to keep yourselves occupied?
Nothing.
Playing ping pong.
I don't believe that for 1 minute.
They're married. What do you think?
This mind over here is constantly going. So believe me, nothing stops.
Yeah, basically, I look at this time as I call it like being in the lab. So I'm like a scientist, and I look at myself as I'm in the lab. So now that I'm not really, I have a lot of time on my hands, which is kind of good for a creative. I'm putting together all my different stories, and I'm preferably hijab, I'm putting that together. And it's great because I'm able to organize everything that I was supposed to be doing for the show. The downtime has really been kind of good for me, and getting the productions together. So.
It's kind of funny how I noticed that a lot of people who kind of are used to the social distancing, whether they are at home writing or creating drawing, anything like that, we're not having so much of a problem because we're like, hey, by default, I don't have to go out there. And so I have all this time to create and stuff. So you're probably writing up about 5 or 10 years worth of things.
There's no excuse.
I am. I really am. Yeah, you're right. Exactly. Because normally I have a full-time job. I mean, I have 2 jobs. I have my creative job, and then I have my full-time job, which is 8 hours a day. So that takes a good chunk of my time, so now that I'm at home and I'm not working, it does give me some time to, I still am working from home from my job, but I am having the time now to also dedicate to things that I couldn't normally dedicate to, so it's good. It's really, really good. So I'm getting a lot done. So it's good. Yeah.
And for those that hadn't been able to check out our prior interview with Eric and Pam, he kind of skirted over it when he said that they do some online stuff. They also have a show, Amazon exclusive limited series. It's called Hijab, guys. And while there's only one episode on that, that's how we met, was through the show. And if you haven't seen it yet, it's definitely worth the watch. And I say this every time. Pam knows what I was going to say, is that, and Eric, I should say, because Eric's the one that wrote it, is that there is about 20 minutes into it, there's a speech that the lead character gives that I truly believe should be in every social studies and history, not so much history, but social studies and civics class across the country, because it's powerful. It's coming from a woman that's wearing a hijab, and it's really emotional. And you'll have to check out the interview as well, because Andrea,
Andrea.
I knew it, and then I was going to also butcher her last name as well.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
She's great.
She is, and she couldn't be with us here today, but like Meredith said, we don't know when we're going to get more of hijab. The whole country is kind of on hold. That's one reason why we put this together when we did. It was, everything was just starting to shut down when we decided to do something like this. And you guys know from experience, we love the independents. We love the independent writers, the comic books, the filmmakers, the actors, just everybody that's independent. Because as was said earlier on the show, another guest said, that mainstream is taking a lot of that word independent away. They'll say it's an independent film, but then they have a $7 million budget.
Right. Yeah. We're truly independent. I mean, we are using our hard-earned money to create a lot of these projects, and it hurts you in the pocketbooks, but hopefully in the back end, now with these new platforms developing, which is I wanted to talk about a little bit. We just signed a deal with an OTT platform for Hijab and for Above Ground, our other show, and for Corey Run. And that's it's called Dunn Vision, and they're branched out of Canada, and it's run by Nikki Dunn and Vincent Dunn, and they're great people. I've had numerous conversations with them, and they're building a really, really nice platform. And they're going to be doing a lot of marketing, and they give the filmmakers a lot of leverage and leeway. And so if you are an independent filmmaker, I would definitely look them up. They're awesome.
Now, what are you guys doing as far as promoting some of these other things? Where can we find you? I mean, you mentioned Corey, but we've only touched on Hijab,
right?
And some of your other things. So, what have you produced, and where can we find you?
Well, go ahead, honey.
I was going to say, just go to ENFUEGOFilms.com.
Yeah.
If you go there, you're going to be able to find everything is in one spot. So we'd rather just focus and tunnel you into ENFUEGO Films, and you'll find everything that we're working on, past projects from way back.
Yeah. We have a show called we have a short film called Corey Run. It's on Amazon Prime also, if you don't want to find it on ENFUEGOFilms.com. And then we also have a web series that ran 3 seasons called Above Ground. And we also have Hijab. And then we also have an interview show, and we're developing a music channel as well, probably in the fall. We've been working on it here and there. But yeah, so we got some stuff some irons in the fire that are definitely going to be coming out. But yeah, just try to, most of our material you can find, we're all over the stratosphere here, but most of the material you can find, is mostly on ENFUEGOFilms.com. Yeah.
Well, okay, so your husband and wife team, what is the dynamic as far as, and people get touchy about this, like know your role. Okay.
As long as he makes it to the
Yeah.
Just
as
know
long as he,
what?
as long as he gets it into the hamper, he's good.
Yeah. Long as I'm,
Yeah.
always the boss, then
Yeah.
we're good.
Yeah. Yes, honey. I've learned the term. Yes, honey. No problem, honey. You got it, honey.
Right. Because like I'm sitting here, my husband knows that we're doing this whole thing, and it's an all-day event, and I'm like, coffee boy. But he's taking a nap. I'm like,
I haven't called
useless.
coffee boy yet, but we'll see what happens.
Don't give Pam any ideas at this
Yeah, I
moment.
know. Exactly. Thank you, Christian.
Poor Eric is going to get it.
So really, what is that? What is that dynamic as far as when you're taking on? I mean, you both have strengths, obviously. Eric, you've got the creativity side, and Pam, I think you're more cerebral as far as taking care of maybe the paperwork or chasing down phone calls and things like that. How do you work together like that?
When we first started,
Especially since we're kind of like stuck in the same room, and a lot of us are not used to being or spending that much time with our spouses.
I know.
There's that too.
we learn the hard way. It's all by experience, and over the years we've evolved. But we definitely early on ran into challenges of not overlapping when we're on production. And I really only get involved in pre-production, huge, part pre-production, and then during the production process and being the production manager and managing all the creative stuff on set. So we've learned to kind of separate. We talk a lot before and during. We always take things outside whenever we, feel like, what's going on here? We don't want to do it in front of other people, but we've definitely come a long way. And we always just make sure we communicate and know where each other is at all times. So I think we've done good over the years. Yeah,
I tend to start. I'm kind of like I kind of start because I'm the creative. So I start the project. It starts from here, and then it goes to paper, and then next thing you know it, I'm putting it together. And then after that process is kind of done, then I take it to her, and I go, "What do you think of this project? How do you feel about it? Do you think it's riveting? Do you think people will like it?" And she looks it over and she rips it apart. And then I go back to the drawing board, and then I show it to her again, and then she usually looks at it and goes, "Okay, we got to do this." And then that's when we start.
Then the planning
starts. Yeah.
Then we get the people, the casting. It's just boom, 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 boom. Once it starts, once it's like thumbs up,
we had to really know our roles because at first because we're both Leos, so we're like very headstrong. We're a headstrong couple. Yeah. Bam, bam, bam. So I let her control parts of the production that I just go, yeah, that's cool. I like that. And then I control parts of the production where she goes, yeah, cool, you can handle that. And we had to work that out because that was tough. That was really tough at first.
You mentioned a minute ago about the you go into her with the first draft and her saying, no, this sucks. That literally happened with a job, didn't it? I mean, she didn't say this. Yeah. She was basically, this is too dark.
Yeah, she's like, no. Too dark. We can't go there.
Not during this era.
It was a little much. I was kind of going out there, but as a writer, you do want to go as far as you can possibly go. You can always pull it back, and I went out there as far as I could possibly go on that story. And when she first read it, she was just like, I don't think this is going to be.
I was like shaking.
Yeah.
I was like.
Not to say it was bad. It wasn't a bad script.
Writing,
it was just
the writing.
Yeah, it was just the storyline was a little harsh, a little dark. And so when I went back into the lab, I went back into the story and I just took the nuts and bolts of it and just recreated it. And thank God I have someone here that can tell me, that I'm going too far. I need that. You always need that as a creative, because you can stretch the limits too far. And if I don't think it's too far, sometimes we'll battle it out. We'll fight it out. I'll go, well, this is my argument, and this is my side, and this is how I feel about this. She'll go, yeah, but you're not understanding, and you know. And then we usually come to a conclusion. I don't know how we get there, but
it's my way not.
it usually ends with yes, honey. No, I'm just
no. How much property damage was involved in these negotiations? But while riding on top of that, Eric, what was like one challenge that the two of you hit that you were both standing your ground? Hey, it's Florida, and you guys looked at each other and finally came to a resolution. And how did you resolve it? The biggest challenge that you two came across.
Tune in to find out more after this 30-second break.
Hey guys, Matthew here with geekinsider.com, and I just wanted to give a quick shout out to one of our sponsors, mobileedge.com. If you're a gamer and looking for some gear to protect your gaming gear, Mobile Edge has gaming backpacks, they've got totes, they've got all kinds of carrying cases and tech for today's mobile lifestyle. Protect your tech with Mobile Edge. Look sharp, travel smart, Mobile Edge. Bring it on.
On top of that, Eric, what was like one challenge that the two of you hit that you were both standing your ground? Hey, it's Florida, and you guys looked at each other and finally came to a resolution. And how did you resolve it? The biggest challenge that you two came across
during the production of a job.
Yes.
Anything. You guys are working together, you know.
We're giving future writer couples the reason.
That's a good question.
Nothing even like stands out like.
Oh well.
Except for maybe location.
Well, there's been many options.
I'm thinking of one.
Go
ahead. You tell.
Kristen's going to start a fight here. You know.
First off, location, because it's always a challenge with location, and we always steal locations, and you know. Because
when you're a guerrilla filmmaker, you're out there, you steal the shot, and you get the hell out.
And
right?
We've done some crazy. I can't tell you all my secrets, but. This last project, we were literally in non-trespassing zone, and I created these documents, you know, that made it look like we were allowed to be there.
False documents. She falsified that.
Wait a minute. So when you negotiate, you social distance in your own home. Is that what you're saying?
So I walk away. There were cops that showed up. I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but cops showed up, and I told my little story lie. And I walked out to go get the papers that I had, you know, conjured up. And he basically told the cop the truth.
Well, the cop made me tell the truth. And he goes, is that your wife? And I go, yeah, that's my wife. And he goes, she's lying, right? I go, yeah, she's lying. He goes, look, guys, you guys are breaking the law. It's fine. We know you guys are breaking the law here. It's cool. Just be careful because someone was killed down the street.
Yeah.
It was a murder here last night. And you know we're roaming the neighborhood looking for the guy who killed the guy. So just be careful. And I was like, that's cool, man. Thank you. He goes, yeah. And tell her to get better documentation.
He called me out. I mean, like, you know.
She's like, tell her to get better documentation. That documentation was horrible.
Better documentation and better documentation and better location scouting if there was a murder there the night before.
Right, exactly.
That location. And
you don't even need the FX department at that point.
A month later, bulldozed down. Like we were.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's the right time.
Yeah.
When the cops are going out, they're going, you know, we get it.
Yeah. Exactly.
We don't need an explanation.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a little.
So it's usually location, I think, and
casting
maybe money.
And money.
You know,
usually it's money. It's
money.
That's our biggest challenge is money because since it's our money, we have a pool of money, and she's the kind of person that likes. She's really inventive of how we spend it. Like for me, I'm like, oh, I like this location. It's pretty cool. How much? And they go, that'll be $400. And I'll be like, that's cool. And she'd be like, nah, we got to think of another way, right? She's very practical in that regard.
Negotiate. It's called negotiate.
Right. And so, I always want the best for the production and for the shot. I want to make sure the shot looks great. And she's like, well, maybe we can do this and do that. She wants to cut corners a lot. And so that's where we bump heads, like when it comes to cutting corners. Because I want the most beautiful shot, the most creative shot. She's like, I want the most practical shot, you know, something that we can afford. So that does come into the production sometimes, but
you can't tell, right? When you see everything, you won't be able to tell.
No.
Yeah. Well, that's the importance, I think, of having two people who work together, because there's a certain amount of vulnerability and trust that you have to have for each other. And, you know, I mean, that's the total respect for not only the process, but for each other. And, you know, so, and that's not easy to do, especially, I know that you've been doing this like pre-COVID, but, you know, post-COVID, when everybody's kind of like, you know, they're getting cabin fever, and they're, you know, maybe you're looking at your partner going, why are you still breathing? You know? Well, you know, so it takes a bit of the respect, the vulnerability and trust to kind of have a really good working relationship. And you guys have been doing this for a while. Tell us a little bit about that.
We still love each other.
We do. We I think.
Did she dress you, Eric?
Huh?
I was gonna ask that.
Did she dress you?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Look, he's always telling the truth. He can't help it. He narks her out to the cops.
Yes, honey.
Make them believe we love each other.
Yes, honey. Yeah.
As soon as this COVID-19's over, Eric is running out of his house like Mel Gibson. Freedom!
That's true, man.
He'll have a new story to write. That's true.
Exactly. He'll have 10 books, but he'll be happy.
How to live with my loved one. Yeah, it's been interesting. We've been, you know, like in terms of ENFUEGO, you know, it's been mostly right now. I just been mostly doing a lot of it because I have more time on my hands. You know, she has a full-time job too, and she, you know, and she's going to be talking to you guys about that later. But I just think that we've been trying to figure out ways. You know, I've been catching up on a lot of movies that I haven't seen in a long time, and I've been really doing a lot.
He says it's research.
It's always research. Yeah, you know, hey, honey, it's research. I'm doing research. And
must be explain Pornhub.
Oh, I forgot to clean the cache. Damn. Yeah. So, but yeah, you know, so mostly I just been doing a lot of research too, and I've been talking to her about certain ideas that I have, you know, just, you know, ideas that I've been working on, and I'll run it by her, and she'll go, yeah, that's cool. Okay, whatever, you know. But yeah, we've been getting along. We've created a ping pong table for ourselves from our dining room table. Didn't we do that?
We did.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah. Yes, honey. And then we what else did we do? Oh, and we're
doing a lot of cooking.
We're doing a lot of cooking because we're both vegan. So we've been doing a lot of cooking, and we've been getting along pretty well. Yeah, we've been getting along good.
What about you guys?
Yeah.
How are you guys doing? Christian, what do you do?
Yeah, we didn't even introduce, you know, Christian.
Yeah. Funny as hell.
There's no need to introduce me whatsoever.
What's your background? I like that. Did you just put that? Is that like a curtain?
It is a shower curtain.
That's
yes.
awesome.
Cool. That's
like
really
it
cool.
is a shower curtain.
There it is.
Meredith?
You need one.
I'm gonna send you a curtain like that, okay?
This is my blue screen.
You know what? This is a better background. Okay, so here's the story. The last time we did the interview with Eric and Pam, I had a black curtain behind me. I was wearing a black turtleneck, and I was just this disembodied head. Yeah, and I was just, and afterwards they were like, "Yeah, you should work on that background." I'm like, "Really?" You tell them.
She's Holly.
It's like after the recording.
Yeah.
Like, thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
It was
follow the bouncing Meredith.
Exactly.
Looks like a video game, you know. It's really funny.
You know, and Pam, she does the set design and things like that. I'm like, you could have given me some pointers, help a girl out here.
Yeah, it was good.
They thought you did it on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is actually a step up. I'm still waiting for like banners and things like that I ordered. So I'm a work in progress. You know, I'm learning.
And we want to give a shout out to you guys. We really thank you guys for having us on here and promoting our company. And it's kind of an honor to be a part. I've never been a part of anything like this before. So, and I know this is like your first annual virtual con, and I hope you guys have more of these. And I'm sure there's a lot of filmmakers out there. There's a lot of storytellers out there that would love to be a part of this. And I think this is really cool you guys are doing this. So I just wanted to say thanks from my heart.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a couple minutes left, guys. And again, I just want you to put it out there where we can find you and, you know, like where you're available on social media and stuff like that so people can connect.
Okay. So we are ENFUEGO Entertainment. You can find us at ENFUEGOfilms.com. And we have, like I said, you can pretty much find all of our material there. We have a variety of stuff. We also have, if you guys want, you're interested, we also have like clothes and hats, and we have a lot of merch.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you about that. You have an online store.
Yeah, we have an online store. So if you want to buy t-shirts, hats, I don't know, we're not developing a hijab shirt yet. I don't really know how popular that would be. So you know, we're thinking about it. So I don't know. Any ideas?
I can give that some thought.
Yeah, like if you walk around with a hijab shirt, it's like
many scarves.
Yeah,
Sell some
yeah.
scarves.
I don't know. We're thinking
certain locations beyond the DL.
But anyway, yeah, you can find everything at ENFUEGOfilms.com. We are also we have a YouTube channel as well. I highly suggest on our YouTube channel, besides our own material, is I have some great playlists. I have this great 80s playlist on there that a lot of people really flock to, with all the great 80s music videos on there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. You check it out. I have every single like 500 music videos from the 80s on there. So it's real popular. So I got like 100, I got like 1 million hits on it. It's really, really cool. So, but our material is on there as well. Yeah, really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for having us on. And yeah, hope we can do this again sometime.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I wanted to make a little announcement because I don't know that they saw the message, but in our previous panel, we had one of your t-shirts going through ENFUEGOfilms.com/shop, I think it is. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yes, but they won the t-shirt. So that is a shout out to Heroineburgh. They are cosplayers, comic book writers, and they do a little bit of live action also. So they won that. Yay. And yeah, they're actually coming on next. So we're waiting for them to pop in.
Picture.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Eric and Pam, you know, I'll be in touch. Y'all stay in touch.
All right.
Let me know how things are going.
Thank you so much for spending time with us. We really appreciate your time. We really
do. Geek Insiders, geek out, man. Geek out.
Thanks, guys. Love you all, man. Y'all take care. Bye.
We'll be back right after this break. Cards, the Universe, and Everything is a trading card collecting battle card game that has a little something from everything. From the Old West to outer space and everything in between, Cards, the Universe, and Everything is great for gamers and collectors of all ages. Download it from your app store, and as you collect hundreds of available cards, there are more weekly, so you can craft up to 10 decks and battle against your friends and other players from around the world. And if you're an educator, check out cardstheuniverseandeverything.com for a special offer for you and your students. Okay, who do we have up next? Oh, that was the close-up. I didn't want that.
Extreme close-up.
I did not want that at all. What are you guys doing to me? You know what? I have been on camera without my lipstick. What the hell? Why aren't you guys telling me these things?
Because I was on camera without my lipstick, so we can all suffer together here.
I don't have eyeshadow today. Fine. You'll have to excuse me. I forgot my eyeshadow. I'm growing out my hair to bring back the 80s hairband. I'm going to have eyeshadow from now on. I want to get like deep blue. Like what?
I tell you what, the my brother, the one time, it was for a Halloween costume, and he wanted to go goth, and he'd never put on makeup before in his life ever. So I'm sitting there, and I got the eyeliner and everything like that, and he's sitting there going, "Oh my God, this is so stupid," blah blah blah. And then he gets in front of the mirror, and he sees it, like the dark shadowy eyes and everything like that, and he's standing there. He goes, "Damn, I look good." Yeah. And I thought for sure he'd be hooked on that, but yeah, that was it. That was the one Halloween, and all good to go. So our next panel here, we've got comic books and graphic novels. And you know what, guys? I am going to go take a break and go through some lunch down my throat before I start going Hulk on people. So you guys got it?
Yep.
Of course.
All right.
And so
I'm getting out of here.
Fine. And where is Heroineburgh? I guess
I don't know who anyone is, but we do have Chuck with us. Chuck, welcome to the program. Chuck is also a writer, an editor, and a novelist. I brought him on, too, to make sure we had enough people to fill an hour and to have some great conversations about creating comics and graphic novels. Have you, at this point, actually edited a graphic novel, Chuck? And introduce yourself to the audience.
I'm Chuck Pineau, as he said. I'm an editor, a writer. I'm becoming a novelist. That should be out by the end of the year. I'm doing an audio podcast. I do a little bit of everything right now, and of course, comic reviewer and such. So yeah,
fantastic.
Thank you.
And we should be joined by some other creators any minute now. There was a list of them, but until they get here, let me ask you a question about creating and editing comics. What do you think is the hardest part of actually making a comic book? Because a lot of people always ask me that question. I know my answer, but what's yours, Chuck?
Finishing it. I mean, honestly, there's a difference between just making a book and making the greatest thing you can possibly make. And really, at the end of the day, just make something. Like that is the first huge step, is actually finishing something. And then from there, of course, it can become something way more, and you can get better at the craft and all that kind of stuff. But just actually finishing something is such a huge hurdle, and it's the one that so few people do.
Very true. And we're joined now by Heroineburgh.
Heroineburgh.
There we go.
Heroineburgh.
There we go. Introduce yourselves, guys, and let us know what you're creating.
Hi, you can just call me Heroineburgh. I'm the creator of the comic book. You can see on my head there is Vendetta. I'm sorry, this is backwards, so it's hard for me to... Yeah, there we go. That's Vendetta, and this is our live-action Vendetta. We can say your real name, right?
Yes.
Yes, this is Mauricia. She also has her own comic book, which we'll show you a little later. And so Heroineburgh is both a live-action video series that has been running for 2 years. It's in the middle of its second season, and it's available for download straight from our website. We have people downloading it from all over the world. And then earlier this year, we had it become also a comic book and a comic strip in the local newspaper. So 3 different realizations of the same intellectual property, shall we say.
And I am Vendetta. I am Vendetta, Italian Spirit of Vengeance.
Yes, Vendetta is one of our superheroines. She represents which neighborhood?
Bloomfield.
Yeah, that's Pittsburgh's Little Italy. So basically, she's kind of like a cross between Huntress and Mockingbird. You want to talk about it a little bit? Go ahead.
I have super strength. I have super strength that is tied to my confidence, my super confidence. Whenever I don't have confidence in myself, I don't have my strength. So, yeah.
And she also has a fighting skill. So she's kind of like the Italian ninja of the neighborhood. So she's the daughter of the local mob boss. Her best friend gets killed by his right-hand man, his consigliere, and she swears vengeance against him. And so that part of it is a little bit like Huntress. And the part that's more like Mockingbird is kind of her fighting skill, her combat skill. and you want to show them your weapons here. Her main weapons are Eskrima fighting staves that are kind of like mockingbirds. So it's kind of like a cross between a DC and a Marvel character. Yeah, she's one of many heroines in our series, and then we have just as many villains too.
Yeah.
Now, would you say that it's where it takes place is also a character in the series?
Definitely, the character. I would say that. Let me make a little comparison. Have you ever seen the Miraculous Ladybug cartoon?
I haven't, but I've heard of it.
Okay, so the backgrounds are so well done that Paris basically becomes a character in the series. Well, for us, it's similar, and we are using a real life place, not Gotham or Metropolis. We're using a real fantastic version of Pittsburgh. So in the background and all through the comic book and the comic strip and the live action series, you see locations all over Pittsburgh where we film both inside and out. So Pittsburgh itself is like a character in the series. And we showcase all the neighborhoods. Most of the heroines represent either a specific neighborhood or some kind of specific ethnicity or subculture. We have a couple that represent like the heavy metal scene and the goth scene. And there's a whole bunch of different neighborhoods. Pittsburgh is known for having 90 different neighborhoods. So, we have about a couple dozen heroines representing those neighborhoods, and also the various ethnicities that live here, and the kind of jobs that they might have as well in the city. There's a lot of eds, meds, and tech now in Pittsburgh: education, technology, and medicine. So a good amount of the heroines are in STEM fields, and have those kinds of like technology and science type jobs, as well as many others.
And we're also joined by the old Marvin. How do you say your last name? So I don't want to get it wrong.
It's Wynn.
Wayne. Okay, so
Wynn.
tell us who are you, what are you creating, and where can they get it?
Marvin Wynn, creator of The Edge. The Edge is I would consider it a throwback to 90s comics, X-Men and Wildcats and things like that. The Edge is a drug that gives abilities, but as you use those abilities, it drains you out and can kill you. That's available at theedgecomic.com and on our Facebook page, the.edge.comic.
Wait, the drug is?
Well, we can talk about that offline if you want.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I could use a hookup.
Just for the record, kids, don't do drugs. This has been brought to you by the Anti-Drug Coalition of America. So let me ask you guys, you're all comic book creators. How much do you miss being out there in Comic Cons, telling people, getting people excited about what you're creating? Has that been, for lack of a better word, a little depressing to not have that ability to connect with fans?
Oh my God, yeah. Like seriously, that's like that's our bread and butter. Well, I also create a
This is Maurice's comic, The Music Maker. Yeah.
I also create a comic. And so along with MT here. So yeah, that's our bread and butter, man. Like, not being able to connect with comic buyers and things like that. It's hard. It's hard because, like, especially for indie comics, like, that's where we're coming from. That's where we're going from. It's hard.
And we really did have a full spring and summer planned to promote our stuff. Both me and Marvin and Mauricia, and we go out fairly frequently with our heroines as well. They're not just cosplayers; they're the actual actresses who play the roles in the videos. So Mauricia isn't just a cosplayer; she is the actual Vendetta. So yeah, we go out all together, and we had a whole bunch of stuff planned, and now it's pretty much all online. We're wondering whether the stuff in August that we have is going to happen or not, even though it's still 2 months, 2.5 months away, 3 months away.
What about you, Marvin? Are you feeling it? Are you feeling the isolation of this moment, not being at cons, not talking to people?
Oh, well, I mean, I think that in things like this are probably what's going to help me to not lose my mind. Been able to reach out to creators, fans, customers, and stores over the last couple of weeks, thanks to some planning on Facebook. But I mean, it's hard to get new people involved when you're not in front of someone talking to them about what you're selling. Sending emails and sending messages on Facebook is all fine and good, but being able to be in front of someone and hand them something physical that they can look at kind of stymies it. And I was continuously posting last year or beginning of this year about 2020 being a big year for us. I have 2 books on hold that I can't release because we were planning to release them at events.
Jake, I have never been mistaken for Seth Rogen. These are called muscles. He doesn't have any. So let me ask Chuck. Chuck's going to say something about my muscles. He's just going to embarrass me now. Go ahead, Chuck.
No, I'm going to say something about Seth Rogen, man. He builds up for what was it, Green Hornet?
No, he didn't. He wasn't that guy. I mean, he was not fat anymore. That was it. Congratulations. He went on Slim Fast.
I'm a fat guy. That's built up, mother.
Whoa. Watch the language. There might be watching. I don't know.
If you guys ever run into Seth Rogen, ask him what happened to his plans to do an Invincible movie. That's one of our big influences. He dropped. What happened? What happened
Next time we're at Starbucks, I'll ask him. Chuck, what do you think? Do you miss the outside world?
Yeah, I'm an extrovert, so this is really tough on me. I miss being in, right with people and being able to talk to them and really feel that and meet new people. So that's been tough. But the other part of Comic Cons that's huge for me is the networking. So doing all this kind of stuff, I've met so many new people. I've been a part of so many new programs and whatnot. So this has certainly helped an awful lot.
And our show just got classy finally, as we have probably one of the hardest workers in comics. Go ahead and tell the world who you are.
Well, thank you for that. So I'm Kat. I'm the writer of Like Father, Like Daughter, and They Call Her the Dancer. And also, I'm a journalist for comics, so I work for Newsrama and DC Universe.
We're talking about how much we miss going to cons. Is that gotten to you yet? Like the weekend comes and there's no con, and you're like, oh God, I can't keep doing this.
Oh yeah, for sure. A big part of our business is definitely to do these cons, to sell books, to meet people as well. So I miss it, and obviously I understand why we can't have it, and hopefully soon we could all come back together when everyone is healthy and we can come back together. I will say I don't predict that happening until maybe Baltimore Comic-Con, in all honesty, but I hope if it does happen for Baltimore, then it's a big celebration that we're all back.
Oh, that would be awesome. And Christian, do you miss being out there? Because I know that I see you at just about as many Florida shows as there are.
You're gonna laugh. We're scheduled to go to 7 conventions this year.
Oh boy!
That includes SuperCon, MegaCon, all of them, and they all got pushed back. In fact, one in Alabama got pushed back, and it's just because one of the banes of our existence is to do panels, and when you take that out, we're just kind of a radio show. And I'm going to ask this question of everybody else there: what creative thing have you done to try to get your product out there? Now that you don't have the conventions, what kind of things have you explored into to try to get your product out there?
I'll be honest, just to start this, and then I'll pass it around the room. Next, we'll go in like an order so we all can go. I'm not trying to sell anything right now too much. I will only go to Kickstarter because people understand what Kickstarter is, but besides that, I won't push much product. I look at this time as a way to meet new people and to basically build up the fact that I'm here to entertain people. I think that's what they need right now. You give the audience what they need, and they'll return the favor later. You can grow your fan base right now. You can have people really just fall in love with you as a human being. So we have that opportunity to be on these shows and spend more time with you guys. I've been getting emails. I've been getting friend requests. I got 30 friend requests today. And it's hard to decide when you're so close to the end of your 5,000 cap who you're going to add now. So I keep trying to find people who say dumb things and just get rid of them. Like, I don't like what you said. You're gone. You're the weakest link. What do you think, Chuck? Are you trying to be out there hustling?
I mean, in a way, yeah. So what I tell my clients is, when you can't sell this, sell this. So, you know, us being out there and, you know, online and being able to just, you know, sell what we love and who we are and all that kind of stuff, that's a big deal, you know? So, yeah, actually selling a product right now is difficult. For me, I'm really lucky because I have Essence House, which is the project that Eric and I have worked on. It's an audio drama, and we're on episode 7 right now. And every 2 weeks, more episodes come out. They're free. So they keep my writing and my stories out there, and it allows people to still be able to do that. So I find in times like this, we just need to switch gears and figure out what's going on. It reminds me of Joss Whedon, who, when the writer's strike happened, he went, okay, cool, I'm going to make a web series. And that's where we got Dr. Horrible. So, you know, just think about changing your gears and what can I do to still sell this without necessarily having to put money or ask other people for money.
You had me at Italian Ninja.
Well, yeah, I'll go first, and then I'll let the Italian Ninja talk too about what she's doing. So I think you guys are right. This is a time for both networking, just making lots of new friends and connections, and also for internal creation. In other words, push your project forward. We have right now still people working on the comic strip, which the newspaper isn't publishing, but it's still going online. We have I have 2 different artists working on the second comic book. Both Marvin and I have been exploring a Facebook page, which is bringing lots of creators and artists, creators and retailers together. And we've been, you know, trying to get some of those creators to pick up our books. And just in general, I've also been writing, you know, scripts for the next action series that we're going to, you know, we can't film. I think not Kat. Hi, Kat, by the way.
How's it going?
I got your comics in the mail yesterday, Kat. Here we are.
I'm excited for you to read them. I'm glad it got to you.
I already did. I mean, we got so much time. I already read them. So,
awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. So just really briefly, yeah. So I think Meredith asked, are we shut down production-wise as far as the live action videos? Yes, we are, because, you know, we can't really rent out rooms to do it in, and being outside, we might get, you know, nasty looks from police and stuff. So we have to push all of our filming for episode 18 back about 2 months. But, you know, luckily we can still write all those scripts and get them into the hands of the actresses, number one. And number two, we have our 17th episode all ready to go. So at least I can work with my webmaster over the next week to launch that on our website. And that'll be something people can download during the epidemic and enjoy, you know, at least one new product. Yeah. Do you want to say something, Mauricio, about your, yeah.
Oh gosh. Okay. I'll be quick. So yeah, Music Maker Comics. It's a comic book that has scannable music within the comic itself. So you can download it with your phone, and then you can listen to music that's within the story. Yeah. As far as like what this epidemic is like doing to everyone and everything, like, yeah, I mean, you can't do anything, but I mean, it's nice to like network with people via Facebook, I mean, we are so lucky to be living in an online age that we can actually, you know, stay connected with one another, and we can do so pretty comfortably. I mean, you know.
Stay tuned for more right after this message.
Hey guys, how you doing? This is Jake Estrada from Indie Originals. This year, Indie Originals 2020, we've added another category, and that's comic books, independent comic book creators. That's right, guys. Here we are. We're inside a comic book shop, and look at all these beautiful comic books. I want to tell you, indie comics are the backbone of Marvel and DC, because Marvel and DC cherry picks certain creators, and they make these guys superstars. So That's why we added comic books. Because I'm a comic book guy as well. I'm the creator of Book Us, soon to be released feature film. And we also have Terrence Baker as a judge, along with Nino Mazzarina, who does the Unbelievable Laundry Detergent Man, along with his little comic strip that he does for the Chicago Tribune. You need to sign up. You can go to www.indieoriginals.com and sign up for the Indie Originals comic book contest. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys. Peace out.
I don't know why you guys say you don't fit in. You look like people who would go shopping at Walmart at 4 a.m. So you're fine.
You fit in more than we do because we're not wearing anything.
That's true. Then we have Marvin.
Marvin.
Woo! Yeah, I think we're all in the same spot where, like we MT said, where we've been trying to connect with retailers, with customers, with other creators over the last 2 or 3 weeks, and we've been able to move books. And I think that when we come out of this, I think there's going to be a shift in how things are going to get delivered. You want to see a lot more of direct to retailer and direct to customer and cutting out the middleman, and unless someone steps in and tries to either prop up Diamond or help replace them, or if there's going to be multiple distros again. But things are going to have to change. We're not going to be able to go back to anything that's even relatable to normal.
And crowdfunding is going to continue to rise. I mean, right now, there are just incredible projects making $500,000. And in fact, I don't know if you guys have been keeping track, but Todd McFarlane's latest did it's now $1.15 million in like a couple days.
Yeah, it's been like 2 or 3, and it's like that first day.
It's on track to make 5 or 10 million by it's done. That's just insane. And that's during the period when people supposedly don't have any money. They have money.
Oh, of course. I mean, you put something out there that people want, and they're going to find money to get it.
And Spawn Spawn's what everyone wants. Like you go to conventions, that's the thing that gets the lines for sure. It's like that hardcore fan base.
I also think that you have to remember that Kickstarter is it's something people know about, so they're going to follow you there. And a lot of people are banking on the fact that Kickstarters don't take your money right away. So we're supposed to be getting these stimulus checks. So that's an important distinction to make. We are supposedly all getting free money in America. So here it comes. What are you going to do with your free money?
My free money. I've been trying to be creative to spread the love of other people's comics and mine as well. But something I started during this hiatus of comics, especially for reviewing comics, is a series called Top 10 Kickstarter. So hopefully spread the love that way. It did pretty well on my channel. So hopefully continuing to make that a monthly series and figuring out ways to spread the love for other indie creators. But yeah, for me personally, I've been, writing for sure. And even though I think sometimes writing's hard in this kind of mental state where we're all in, but you have to push through it and write, especially if you have the time to do so. Looking through other projects, and then I agree, making connections, doing these virtual cons if you can. And I think that's just so important, just to talk to people and, again, get your comic book out there.
Well, let me ask you guys a question. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I'd like to just add with regards to crowdfunding that we may launch a Kickstarter when issue 2 comes out, but mainly we're going to be concentrating on Indiegogo, which is the new frontier. And some of the projects there are as big or bigger.
And also Indicron as well.
Well, that is the chart that rates the Indiegogo projects. So we're going to be probably launching on both. Well, when we do that, and I just wanted to give a really short plug. I'm one of the moderators on a channel called Crowdfunding Comics, and Crowdfunding Comics spotlights both Kickstarters and Indiegogos 2 or 3 times a week, and it's growing in audience size. And each week they talk about all of these different crowdfunding projects, and a lot of the money is being channeled to that now. And people can go, like Marvin said, you can go direct to retailers. Even better, you can go direct to consumer. So both strategies are going to work more in the future. as opposed to one large mega distributor that has a monopoly, I think.
What's
Now,
oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Chris.
No, I was going to say what's interesting about this, and I'm looking from my side of it because I don't know much about the market. I would assume that the marketing world is kind of similar to my marketing world is to the podcast, because the audience has now moved to social media because they can't go anywhere. So now they've moved to social media. In fact, when I promo one of one of our episodes, they normally bring in between 10 and 20,000 hits on the ad, like the actual episode. But we took a challenge a while back when this all started, and we said, you know what, we will talk about my Sharona Miley Cyrus on the internet, and we'll make an episode about that. And that episode ranked up at 46,000, and I was like, whoa. So it looks like the wave is now hitting in the social market as far as the social media is concerned. And we kind of changed gears, and we're getting a lot more people in. Is that a direction that you might be going into, and which social medias would you try to explore, aside from Kickstarter?
Well, I mean, if you're being honest, as indie creators, we've already been at the social structure.
Right.
My website, Indie Advocates, is the Global Digital Comic-Con. Everyone's coming out, and it makes me laugh so hard. They're like, I just invented an online Comic-Con. I was like, oh, that's precious.
Yeah, we've been here already. So.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. So I think that, and I think Chuck will agree with me on this because he's been there since the beginning of Indie Advocates. We have just seen people trying to do things. What concerns me isn't the social media aspect, because I know everyone on this panel I've seen online promoting their stuff. So we get social media. We know where to go. What bothers me is now people are seeing, oh, this is social media, let's monetize it. And I'm seeing these cons trying to charge creators money to be part of their virtual con, and they're promising people something they can't promise. You can't charge someone $200 for an unproven thing. And we see that in real life.
Or even $25. I feel like any type of money. Like I saw 25, I'm like, how do I know I'm gonna, have promotion there also?
Get a return.
Gonna watch.
Well, how many people on here have raise your hands, lost money at a convention because of the table and haven't made back your money? I know I haven't. I know it's all around. We don't get tables because I know Chris, you're mostly a guest, right? You mostly go as a guest?
I mostly go as a guest or a panelist.
So I know that, and you don't get money. I don't think you get anything for your service either. You just
We're trying.
So for us, we're already putting in money for hotels, money for all this stuff in real life. We're losing money. And these are people who are now going online. I looked at right now, there is WonderCon online. Did you guys know this was WonderCon weekend?
Yeah.
They have an online thing, and I was like morbidly curious. They didn't charge. I don't mean to imply that they charged. But I went to click on a link for an Artist Alley thing, and I kid you not, there was a disclaimer. So you have made an online con to promote people, and the first thing I see is this: we're not part of them. They are their own people. If they rip you off, that's on them, not on us. Wow, way to build confidence. Thank you for having me on your con and explaining that I can't be trusted. What do you think, Chuck? Am I wrong? Is charging for this online space not the most ridiculous thing in the world?
I mean, you need to give me some confidence as a retailer that I'm even going to have anyone walk up and look at it. And see, the thing is, at these shows, I know a body is going to walk past, and I know I'm going to have that opportunity. But can you honestly tell me that that I'm going to get the views, that I'm going to have people looking at me and at my stuff, or at least have the opportunity to flag them in? And if I have to use my own social media to pull them in, well, then why am I even attached to you? What are you doing for me that's going to make me even want to go there? So I don't know, man. You really have to build my confidence that you've got fans who are actually going to go check it out.
And we're going to break real quick. We'll get right back to the question, but we have to talk about the giveaway, right?
Yes.
Whoa. Yeah.
Why am I scared? I'm not giving away anything. I'm broke.
Oh, should we talk about it?
Go for it.
I see a.
Someone's got to do it.
Okay, hey, I see a post from. Well, you've got one right on my mask here, so I see a post from Meredith. I guess Geek Insider's Meredith. So, we sent her a complete set of stickers. So this is something we do want to mention, that the guy who draws this banner behind us and the stickers and our cover is Jason Wright, who is a major freelance employee for DC Comics for the past 20 years. You've seen his work in such books as and Cassandra Cain, Batgirl, and Hal Jordan. And most recently, he was on Metal Men, Dan DiDio's Metal Men, which was cut off halfway through its run because of the My Sharona, Miley Cyrus. And we sent Meredith a complete set of character stickers. There's 6 stickers with there's 4 stickers with superheroes and 2 with the villains. So yeah, somebody can win that set of 6 stickers from Jason Wright, DC Comics employee. There you go.
To do that, you have to leave a comment during our live broadcast. So if you're watching right now, make a comment. Tell people how much you love that we're doing this. Tell them how much you love Geek Insider. This is and we're going to read this right now. Last call for door prize. Leave your comments so we know you're here. So make sure that you guys are doing it. And Phil likes what it is. Katerin, are you paying for table spaces now? Is that like your new online strategy? I'm going to pay $150 because Wizard World, which doesn't deliver in person, is suddenly going to deliver online.
Oh, forget Wizard World.
Yeah, you can't pay online. For a virtual con, you don't know, again, if you're going to get the audience or not. So, and also the reason these virtual cons were happening is because they're like, oh, we want to pay back to the creators because they lost money and they're losing on doing these conventions. I think it's crazy to think that you have to pay for these things. But then I guess on the flip side, if I had to be a devil's advocate, the same people creating these conventions are losing money as well. So they want to get money, but yeah, I think they have to promise that those creators are going to get an audience if you're doing that.
Yeah, Chuck.
So, I mean, it's silly because a lot of them are almost charging as much as they would charge for a normal place. But in the meantime, like, you don't have all the volunteers that you need. You don't, like, I mean, there's so much less to have to pay for that I find it kind of funny. Like, I mean, there was, I was looking at some of it, the Wizard World thing. They're charging you $240 to speak with the actor who was, to remotely speak with the actor who was in Supernatural. He played one of the main demons. They're charging you $240 for a minute.
Wow.
Are you serious right now?
Crazy.
And I mean, I looked that up. And so you're going to charge us that much to talk with a dude for a minute? Wow.
I mean,
virtual minute no less.
I think we do that now anyway. So really think about it.
This is remotely. Like,
yeah, I know,
but you remember in the 90s, it was all call this number for $5.99. You can get a psychic or you can get like phone sex. Like, it reminds me of that. Like, you can't do it. Doesn't translate the same way. But we did have a question I wanted to bring up because this kind of goes in with it. Have any of you guys been part of a live auction? Are any of you guys doing that? Live auctions during the shutdown? Are you able to be part of that somehow? And how do you start one? Like, because I know that there are some publishers that have been doing the auctions every night, and I guess it's because they're in a bad way. I mean, publishers too. The publishers aren't getting paid by Diamond right now. They're getting 25 on the dollar, I think, right now, and that's Diamond doing them a favor. So what do you guys think? Are you guys part of a live auction? Anyone done it before?
Yeah. Well, no, we're not through Diamond, so that doesn't affect us. But I have seen people doing live auctions. Basically, I've seen retailers. Now, the people who are in the worst shape are not us. The people who are in the worst shape are the retailers. It's very possible that a sizable part of the direct market will fail and collapse during this period because it didn't have enough money, back money reserves to last through like a month or 2 months of shutdown. So what I'm seeing various retailers, shops go online and do auctions on their Facebook. They'll literally sit there and try to like auction off a $3, $4, $10 book. I saw a local a shop owner who owns 6 stores in the greater Pittsburgh area. I saw him doing that. and I've seen several others as well. So I think the retailers are in the biggest dire straits right now. So much so that you see creators, big name creators, donating money to their local comic book shops. Like Rob Liefeld, for example, is doing a lot of that. He's literally like drawing sketches and having people donate the money directly to various comic shops. I think the shops are in the biggest peril of any of the parts of the business.
I would disagree with that. Hold on. I would disagree with that, but I wanted to ask Kat, what's up with your collection? I saw a message that said, I saw Kat's video about her signed collection of comic books, enough to make a real collector cry. I got choked up. I was like, what happened?
Oh, no. I'm not selling anything, thankfully.
No, I thought something happened. Like, was there a flood?
No. So I did a video showing my signed collection just because I feel like obviously there's not a lot of content to put out because there's no new comics. So I decided let's do something different than show my whole collection because that would take forever. Let me just show like my CGCs and signed collection. So I did a video on that. Luckily, nothing destroyed or selling. But what is interesting about the YouTube world is that auctions have actually been going on for a little while for collectors, but it's mostly like the key issues. So I think for people like us, it's not going to help us. We do an auctions like, all right, $5 for a comic. I can do that at your store. So it's definitely more for the key issues and more about the retailers because they have those key issues. They'll do the auction. So I don't think it's going to help us, but I do think it's interesting. That's how retailers are trying to stay afloat.
That's fair. And to circle back to the point about, and I'll open this up to all you guys. Stores can apply for loans. Diamond can apply for loans. Marvel can apply for loans for losses. All these publishers can. No one in here can because we're considered freelance workers. None of us can apply for a loan. As a matter of fact, freelance, you can't even get an employment unless you can prove a constant stream of money. I know a lot of artists who are just dying right now. They don't know how to pay rent. So if you ask me who are the worst affected, it's the lowest level as always. It's the people who the businesses are closing up. They're putting their pencils down, but they're still paying their other people. You know what I mean? They're still paying their CEOs are still getting paychecks. They're taking 10% pay reductions. That's my opinion. And that's not to put light on comic book shops. They always have been in trouble, but creators are struggling right now. Do you guys notice that you have friends who are in real problems now?
Oh my God, yeah. I'm just sorry. It's just like, yeah, as far as like, well, I mean, creators are always going to be like the lowest level, like are going to be on the lowest level whenever it comes to like economic crises. And it is the way it is. Like, for some reason, people who are creative seem to be the least valued in society. And that's the way it kind of rolls. Even though we're like, we should be the most valued, we are like the least valued. Go figure. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on it.
Well, the people who are least valued are always least valued until there's a crisis. Yep. And then those are the people who explode, and then everyone wants their assistance. The same thing with people who work in grocery stores or restaurants or things like that. They were the people who no one cared about them. They didn't want them to have the money they needed when they were working. Now that they're needed, now everybody wants to call them heroes and pat them on the back.
And it is funny. We see everything, like we've talked about the falling apart of comics, and comics are all in trouble. We really are seeing now what that looks like. For the first time ever, it's not complaining about it. We're seeing the reality. Diamond wasn't the ship that we could sail on after all. Marvel, DC don't know what to do if they don't have Diamond. Mm-hmm. The only thing that we're left with right now is, I guess, each other. The industry is really looking out for itself right now. Yeah. And I'm seeing I got to give credit. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but people who had rivalries are putting stuff aside and starting to work together and talk to each other. And I think it's been a very beautiful moment. So with that in mind, what do you guys think the future of creating is? We're going to invite Jason Quinn in a minute, but if you guys could get an idea of it, What do you think we see going past this as creators, as indie comics? Because we're the only ones with the lights on right now, and people are noticing it. Not the news media that doesn't cover us, but everyone else knows.
No, they don't.
Yeah, not at all. But everyone else notices that we're still creating. We're still kickstarting.
The comics industry notices it, though. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think?
Yeah.
Let's go.
And the customer.
Let me see. Jason's still not there. What do you guys think? What's our future? Diamond doesn't seem to be it anymore, right? We just suddenly noticed that Diamond won't be there if anything goes wrong.
Well, I think
so.
Let's go with Marvin.
Okay. I think it's a lot of different, and a lot of things that I've been talking to with Heroineburgh and with Kat and other people for the past year and a half about sharing resources and finding different paths. So, I mean, there's been a lot of what I've been trying to do is setting up networking shares between retailers, trying to create a new way to get comics to people. I mean, I think we're wide open for an Uber type comic book service where people can get comics delivered to them by someone who would be similar to a Grubhub driver. $2 or $3, you get your books dropped off to your doorstep. But I think we're in a motion of whatever we can try will probably come to fruition or probably work. Because we can't count on big box. You can't count on your Walmarts and your things like that because they're not going to be there when there's a crisis. They're going to pull up their stakes, run into their mansions and hide.
Now, Christian, as a fan, what do you see this as? Because you're not a creator, you have a unique perspective. As a fan on this panel, what do you see from a fan point of view when it comes to comics?
God, I don't know, because I've been trying to follow. I've been listening to I know everybody's perspective on this, like Clownfish TV and Nerdrotic and all those guys, and I've been listening to the different opinions. I don't know. Here's the weird part, and it might not be. Okay.
Big ups to Gary and Geeky and Neon.
Yes, they're wonderful people. I met
others.
I met Neon over at Epcot.
He's from our area.
He's from your area? Cool.
Yeah, Punxsutawney, just north of Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay. I'll tell him you said hi.
Yeah, he knows about us.
Oh, cool. I gotta, here's a weird take on this. I really think that at this point, just like the housing, I really think that the free market is probably going to make this all work out. I mean, you will see somebody come in and take up to the plate Diamond, and then they're going to say, you know what, I'm hoping that maybe they won't make the same mistakes as the others have done. And then maybe we'll start seeing a reflection of people actually listening to the audience as opposed to this is what you're going to be reading, this is what you think that this is, and this is it. As opposed to, what do you want to have? What do you want to hear? Because what was it? The new thing that came out, what was it? Gotham High or Gotham School or whatever it's called?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
And I have not heard one positive comment about that. And I just always the first question that always asks in my mind, it's kind of like Ghostbuster 2016. Did anybody ask for this?
Well, who's it for?
Yeah, exactly. Who's it for? Did anybody want
to read this? Yeah.
Exactly. It's just like when people wanted a new Ghostbuster, they wanted a reboot. They wanted Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Ernie Hudson, and unfortunately Harold Ramis, who passed at the time, which I still am holding Bill Murray accountable for that one. He waited too long. So
I have something to say about that, actually, Christian. When you're talking about things like New Warriors, Children of the Atom.
Hold on. I don't want to go down that road. We're going to talk about indie comics today, where this isn't.
No. Okay. I understand what you're saying. No. What I'm saying is that if there are people that don't want something mainstream, that then they can look to indie creators instead. That's all I'm saying. And then there can be a network of things that are distributed by independents. Is it okay if I mention Alterna Comics?
I just want to stay on topic with the people in the room. We want to give everyone the same amount of airtime. So.
Oh, yeah, sure, no problem.
Kat, no, it's okay. You had wanted to say something a few minutes ago. I was trying to get back.
I probably don't even remember, but I think we were talking about Diamond. So with Diamond, this has been a conversation forever, and we needed the moment like this to realize it needs to be something in action. So yeah, I do think we're going to have a very different comic landscape, and that's a good thing because, you know, kind of in the vein of what we're talking about, I think we need to have different voices and understand that there are different audiences, and that's good too. And I think with not just having one distributor like Diamond, we can have the more creators and more voices and more different stories with that, which I think is great.
Which can I add on top of Kat's statement? Do you think it's the reverse? Do you think it's the rise of mom and pop stores again over the big box?
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's a good thing too. I think we all need different. I think, not to go on a whole different side, I think the idea of the word diversity means all different types of voices, and to have the mom and pops, to have the corporates. We want all that mixed together in one comic book community. And I think hopefully that's the goal of like us being able to talk to a retailer a little bit more efficiently than just the Marvels and DCs. So we are getting those different voices.
Agreed, definitely.
I think we actually have Jason on with us. I think, Jason, can you hear us?
Stay tuned for more right after this message.
NSCLiveTV.com is the premier site for comic book sellers to expand their viewership and have their live, reply, or bin auctions showcased while helping viewers find good quality comic book auctions or pop culture content with the ease of simply flipping a channel. They feature artists, writers, news, interviews, reviews, podcasts, cosplayers, and more. Tune in today with NSC, and you can enjoy the ease of viewing content without having to search through endless pages. Tune in today. That's NSCLiveTV.com.
I think we actually have Jason on with us. I think, Jason, can you hear us? Yeah, here he comes. All right, so here comes Jason. Jason, are you with us? Hey, what's going on, Jason? We've been trying to get you on a couple times. How you doing? Introduce yourself. Let us know what you're working on and how you're doing.
Just a sec, we'll shut those dogs up. I'm over in the UK at the moment. I'm in sunny Tunbridge Wells. Well, it's actually the middle of the night here. But I'm a comic book writer, an editor, and it's great to be here with you all.
Hey, Jason, thanks for being here. I was in the background and was listening to all these guys, and I wanted to pop in and say hey to you. Jason is actually someone that I met by happenstance through another connection. He's married to a partner of Geek Insiders, or someone who works for the partner of Geek Insider. But Jason has like an extensive background in comics. Jason, you've worked with Marvel. Give us a list of some of the lines that you've worked on, especially recently.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you a quick resume of what I've done. So I used to be an actor, and my elder brother worked in comics. He worked in comics all his life, and he started working for Marvel UK. This was back in the 1990s, the early 90s. And I was fed up of not getting parts on really rubbish British TV programs. And I was like, oh, wow, you're working for Marvel UK. Wow, this is a dream job. Can you get me in there? And he said no, and eventually he did, and he got me in working for the British for Marvel UK, but in the nursery department. I was working in the little kids comics. So the first comic book I ever edited was Barbie. I wasn't really the ideal choice for Barbie, but all the Care Bears, which I also did.
The Care Bears? Oh,
and yeah, you know the Care Bears?
Oh, of course.
Did you have them in the States?
Yeah. They were pretty big.
They were massive. Yeah, they were massive here, and I was the editor of the Care Bears comic and the Barbie comic, and we do our own strips and comic book strips, and then we decided shortly after I became editor, it was to be revamped into a lifestyle mag to encourage girls to be like Barbie.
I bet that went over really well, didn't it?
Well, yeah. Actually, it was. This was the 90s. It was a massive success. Yeah, it probably wouldn't now. And I was lucky. I had a little, a young daughter at the time who was mad about Barbie, and I used my acting training to get into it, because as a writer or editor and thing, I was trained as an actor, and it was the method school, the whole Marlon Brando thing, like from the Actors Studio in New York. We had a similar drama school in England called the Drama Centre, and it was to go for this method of getting under the skin of your character, and so I got under the skin of Barbie, and not in a dodgy way. But, to try and understand it. And I've actually used that acting training with a lot of the comic books I've written since, because I stayed with Marvel UK. We got taken over by Panini, an Italian company, and stayed with them then. And then eventually I went freelance and worked in Pinewood Studios, where they do the Bond movies and things like that. And eventually I ended up in India, where I worked for this graphic novel company called Campfire, that have the most fantastic artists, and they did the most amazing books. They had a really varied output of books. They'd do classics, a bit like, do you remember Classics Illustrated? You remember the old Classics Illustrated comics?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, a bit like that, only in graphic novel format. So instead of 24 pages, there'd be full-size books. They'd do those. There'd be books on historical heroes, and there'd be original books. There'd be, just complete fiction superhero stuff, and all sorts of other things. And I started freelancing for them, and then I did a book on Steve Jobs just after he died. They said, "Can you do a book really quickly for us?" And I said, "Okay." I didn't know much about him, apart from I quite liked Max, and I did, and they invited me over to India to meet the artists. And I was fascinated, because when I got to Delhi, it was amazing, because at Campfire, it was just like when I was a little kid and you'd read Stan Lee's bullpen bulletins, and it'd talk about the bullpen. You had this idea, the artists, the writers, everyone working together in this crazy little office. It was actually like that in India, in Delhi. It was the artists, the writers, the editors, that we were all together. And it was such an amazing creative hub that I loved it. I loved Delhi. It was so insane. It was like being on the set of Blade Runner. It was futuristic. A lot of people who haven't been to India, they wouldn't necessarily get that. But they've got all the modern stuff in Delhi. It's all there. But doesn't quite work, or it's a little bit screwed, and it was just fantastic. It was like living in a science fiction movie. And so when they invited me to come over and head up the editorial department, I was, this is fantastic, and had the best years with some of the best artists in comics who've since gone on to work for Marvel and DC and other things. India is a fantastic bed of talent for artists and creators. I just had the time of my life there.
Now, with you being over in the UK, just before you came on, we were talking with these guys about here in the United States, we have basically one distributor for the mainstream comics. And since, of course, everything is shut down now, then, there's nothing going out. The mom and pop stores are getting shut down. And then, of course, the main folks, the artists behind the scenes, the writers, the artists, they're being choked out. And so do you know, because you still have a lot of friends in the industry and still working in it yourself, do you guys have that same little chokehold, that choke point over there with that? We're
lucky as writers or artists that we can work from home, but of course, there's no shops open, whether they're comic book stores, whether they're news agents. In the UK, we have news agents where you get your paper, you can get your comics there, as well as from specialist comic book stores. And of course, while the news agents are open, there's only a few of them. And so during these ridiculous times that none of us have ever lived through before, yet nothing's open. So everything has to be subscription based, and they're putting a lot of people on furlough and, until this is over, because we're having to leave things on sale longer, simply to make up, because they're not going to be getting the sales they would normally through the stores.
Right. And that's exactly one reason why we wanted to put this whole thing on, was for the independents, and we didn't get a whole lot of folks out of the UK, and you're actually our first guest today, I do believe, and that's why I wanted to ask you, if you guys had that same little point, and I just lost my train of thought. I was going to ask.
I'm sure it's exactly the same here as it is for you. I don't know. Are you guys on lockdown all across the States?
We are. Yeah. I live in New York, so it's even worse.
Oh God, yeah.
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 I'm from Florida.
We're just outside of London, so it's not quite as bad. We're allowed out for an hour a day. It's a bit like prison in a way, only without wardens. You've just got, but it's also become a bit like East Germany, or where you've got neighbors spying on each other, and the police are encouraging you to to snitch on your neighbor and say if they've been out for their hour or if they've been out more than once. So we are allowed out, but to go for exercise and things. So. And luckily, outside of London, there are parks and places we can go that we're not because you go for exercise in the street in London, you're going to bump into people. Here we can go outside and not see anyone. So, but I'm sure most people are going crazy not having anyone to talk to as well. And so our shops, the stores. You can get you can get Lego magazine, right. But that's about it.
Yeah, the mainstream.
If you want to catch up on the world of Lego, you're fine.
Yeah, the mainstreams are shut down here. You know, Marvel and DC aren't even putting anything out. And
Yeah, it's week 2, I think.
Yeah, and I really don't think it's going to start up anytime soon, and that's why you folks here are so important. Is continuing those comics and continuing to get those stories out, because I don't know. I mean, yes, I got into comics because the artwork kind of drew me to the covers, but what kept me there was the stories. It's like a serial book from way back in the day where you pick it up once a month and you continue in your story with the characters that you know and love.
Definitely.
And the ones that, one of mainstreams, yes, I have my Batman that I love, but independents I've been a fan of from the beginning. And Jason, you've got, the Beatles, all of our yesterdays. You did the Gandhi one, and now you're friends with the son or grandson of Gandhi, from what I've heard. And
with the grandson of Gandhi. Yeah.
The what?
Yeah, I did a book on Gandhi while I was over in India, and my first when the publishers asked me to do it, my first impression was, well, hang on, I'm British, I'm one of the bad guys. This is a bit like it's not. Is it appropriate? Could we not get someone else to do it? And they said, well, you tried, because they liked the Steve Jobs book that
right.
And I did. And I tried to get into the character of Gandhi. So I went vegetarian. I started wearing, while I was writing it, I just wore a loincloth. And so you're lucky tonight I've got a shirt on. But I
think our audience.
I only listen to Indian music, and just to get into the character of the guy who's. But I also wanted to find something so it wouldn't just be a hagiography. I didn't want to do a life story of Gandhi that just presented him as a saint, because that's boring. No one wants to have dinner with a saint. You've got to be on your best behavior. Please. You prefer a villain. So I looked for the things about him that weren't so wholesome, and it was when I found those that I actually found, when I found things that weren't perfect about Gandhi, that I started to like him more as a person. I started thinking, okay, now we've got a bit more in common. Now, it's not, I don't have to be on best behavior with you. You're just like anyone else. And I think that's the thing with, if you're in comic books, especially, or any other kind of biography, if you're doing a life story of someone, no one just wants a goody-goody. You need to see the bad points and the good points all mashed together. And then see, we can all be pretty horrible.
Oh. And
sorry?
What was that?
Sorry. I said, and sleeping around naked with a bunch of girls too. That was always fun.
Right. Well, yeah, there was that. Okay, yeah, I'm not saying that, but
I'm sorry. I'm being devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
And hey, guys.
I did actually leave that bit out of the thing, out of the biography, because it was for a family audience, and I thought, oh shit, how can I make this seem understandable when I can't really understand it myself? I glossed over that bit, I'll admit.
Well, Jason,
sorry, I'm devil's advocate right here. So sorry.
No, I did have those thoughts. I thought, oh yeah, okay, yeah. But yeah, you see, he definitely was not a saint.
Well, Jason, real quick, we've got folks that are coming up on the next segment. Tell everyone where they can find your stuff at. Let's do a quick round robin. I'm going to back out, Rob, if you want to let everybody say bye so that some of these people can get in that are next up. Sure. Jason, I'll talk to you soon. Appreciate it.
It's been great to see you.
Why don't we start?
Well, my name's Jason, and you can find my books on either the Campfire website, campfiregraphicnovels.co.in, or absolutely, it's probably better to just get them straight from Amazon at the moment while everywhere's closed. And I'll speak to you all soon.
You could check out my stuff over at Etsy Comic Uno, where I have like File Like Daughter issue 1 through 5 and The Dancer issues 1 through 2, and also my writing at Newsarama and DC Universe.
And your YouTube channel.
Oh yeah, my YouTube channel too. I do too many things to mention all of it. But yeah, Comic Uno as well.
The Edge is available at theedgecomic.com.
Oh, hey. So, you can download all of our live action episodes and order this comic directly from Heroineburgh.com. And once the stores are back open, the comic is available in about 20 stores in Pennsylvania, West Virginia, New York City. And we're looking to expand into more indie stores across the country.
And you can also find you can also find Music Maker Comics on Music Maker Comics with an X. .com. That's it.
I'd like to thank everyone who is with us today. You can follow me at MrAndersin.com. Any one of you are invited to come on any of the panels we have during the week at 4 p.m. Eastern to continue the conversation we were having about the future of the industry. We are out of time today. Thank you so much. Make sure to check out indieadvocates.com for everything indie. And I'll see you all soon. And good luck out there when we restart and the pause is over. So coming in is Meredith for the next panel. Thank you all.
Thank you for tuning in to this segment of Geek Out Virtual Con, the replay, with ENFUEGO Entertainment and our comic book and graphic novels panel. Be sure to tune in to the Geek Insider podcast available on iTunes, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. And if you're watching on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button and tell all your friends, because if you don't, you might have to turn in your geek card.